False alarm, false start. We had the rip him the knife round. Go obviously has gone. It doesn't really mean all too much, obviously, because we are in this best of 3. So, CeX versus Wygers, game 2 of the MDL Climbers Cup. CS was bugging, but we have sorted it, and I'm really excited to see this here in season 34, as CeX picked up map 1 over on Inferno. Mirage being that final map, we do make it all the way, but Wygers definitely have their work cut out for them. This is their map. Don't get it twisted, but CeX have shown they are pretty darn good at hitting some of those heads. MT in particular, one player that stands out to me, finds the first, looking for a couple more heads, does manage to hightail it out of there. As takes Aragon and manages to get away with it too. So MT now holding a closer angle as they doesn't want to get caught out. MT manages to trade out for one there, and with Murky being that lucky, looking for that shot as it comes on through, misses the shot. Come on, man, that was yours to win there. And with Death taking you down, you feel like a bit of a mug if you're Murky right there. Unfortunate to see, and with Ifan in the backfield as well, getting taken out. CeX in a great position goes to CeX in a bad position. Wygers struggling to move on in here, at least momentarily, but on the whole, they have the player advantage, and there's only one person on each side. I love right now that we're seeing this rotate come in straight away from Cypher. Cypher knows where they're going to be, and is ready for it. Impact with the impact frags, taking down 2 as they try to move on in onto the site. And while he does fall, he buys the time for Cypher to move on in, and CeX Esports, after a couple of mistakes, which nearly cost them the round, do manage to pick up the pistol. Ifan. Ifan. Okay. Wait, did I start saying the wrong thing again? Okay, my bad. Yeah, okay, I did. I'm an idiot. Ifan. I was saying the right thing, then I forgot, and then we went back. Now, we're back in round 2, and P250s abound. But P250s don't matter all too much. Oh, no. That's not good. We've had this before. We'll do it in between rounds. We're going to have a reset. Unfortunately, you're going to have to grin and bear with these problems. Ifan. Is it Ifan or Ifan? I don't know. People are giving me mixed signals here, but CeX have no distractions right now on what they need to do. And Wygers, I think they're having a little bit of either a tea break or a tactical break right here. Okay. Just say clown. That does sound a lot easier, but I would feel bad for Ifan if I did do that. Deaths. Has P250 in hand. I know you can't see his P250, but he does have one. It's an invisible one. This is the Emperor's New Guns. That's what we're going for. But against these SMGs and FAMASs, P250s, well, they can do some damage. Obviously, not the most optimal choice. Takes a bit of damage early. Cypher is very much waiting in the wings, ready to help their teammate. This has been absolutely it. CeX has been pretty solid in helping their teammates. A nice spray there. Allow those bursts to clean on up. And MT is a pretty clean start there. We're just going to go for a restart. Oh, wait, is it? Reset. No. Oh, what is it? Oh, no. I don't remember what the command is. Retry it. That's the one. Okay, we're going to reconnect. Sorry about that. Hopefully that'll get rid of the gun issue. Look, I tried the 2 which made the most sense to me. Reset, restart. That makes sense. Retry. I guess it's a retrying connection to the server. But we get a good start off, and we hear that upshot ring out. And Sun Pius starts off the round well for Wygers there. I'm glad I have my own like little contingent to tell me everything I need to do to fix CS. That's always helpful. Look at Caster right after I make a simple mistake. But right now, Wygers haven't made too many simple mistakes, at least early on in this round. They pick up that first frag, and Sun Pius feeling pretty happy. And with this pick as well, they have a lot of control. You can see an attempt being made by MT to try and get up a little bit forward, catch players out, but there's a lot of this. I'm not meowing for you, I'm sorry. But, unfortunately, IFAN got it that time. Will get taken down. Wygers very much set up for a W in this round, but CEX, they're not too worried. They've got a little bit of money going to the next round. I think they're actually going to buy pistols in the next round, set up for a proper full buy, because obviously they have a little bit of a ramshackle one here. They got some SMGs, some FAMASs. They don't really want to go with that. Something weird's going on, chat. That's strange. CEX for the most part. Pretty solid in these first 2 rounds. They lose the third one, but that was kind of inevitability with these weapons that Wygers have, and with that initial pick that some players is able to find. I think saving here makes a lot of sense because they'll get the money still. They'll be set up for those in there for the round in a bit. Able to pick up a Thomas here, and they can either force up around this, right, or they can use this right out, full buy on the 5th round. 4th round. And the Wygers, they're definitely looking to try and pick up these players. You won't be able to find them. CX are too far away. But setting up for this economy, they themselves don't have a huge amount. With this win, they're going to have quite the buffer. I think even if they lose on the next round, they're going to buy up a bit of utility here and armor, obviously, for some players. But for the most part, other than some players, I think even if they lose this round, they'll be able to buy right back up. This is a reunion tour of the MDL Climber Cup. That was the one I almost said, Easy Climber. That's some easy damage there, but unfortunately doesn't find a thing. The CX did in fact force up around. They're lacking a little bit of utility, but do have that AWP in tow. Arrogant. Leading the charges. Murky. Sitting around, waiting down on long. But for the most part, Wygers putting a lot of that pressure towards that B site, readying up for the push, setting themselves up for this opportunity. It's a lot of damage, but doesn't finish it off OMG. You'll see him start to move around his position. Cypher going for that rotate too. Auto-director does not know what we want to look at, but Soka knows what he's looking for here. Going spray through the smoke. Will take down Impact. That, once this smoke is dissipated, IFAN not allowing that to happen, will allow them to push on up. Death's coming on the flank, making sure no one is trying to push up through there. And actually, no one is. They're waiting. These smokes buying a lot of time. As you can see, actually, that bomb is starting to move on up. Moves into water. And they're getting ready to push on to be here. They want to go for the execute. But the smoke has bought this player, IFAN, at this position. A lot of room. Empty, finishes off Death. Will look for a little bit more, but will finally go down. You've got the backup from these 2 remaining players, but Sun Pius holding the angle. Murky goes down. And I think Cypher actually wants to make this play. Because if he saves this, who cares? But if he made it, obviously, a lot to get there. So, CX, going into this 5th round, little to no economy, not looking good for them. But, on the CT side, you want to pick up as many rounds as you can. They're not in the worst position. Wygers still haven't got too much of a lead. If they manage to get a couple of rounds, get a good eco round in or a nice rifle round in the next one, they should be able to set themselves up for a couple of wins in a row. But they will have to deal with another rifle round from Wygers, unless it's the eco round with. Or a lot of damage coming out from this eco round as well. That's more of Soka. Setting up for this one as the rest of the team starting to move into position. And you can see CX, like a little cabal, waiting in these tunnels. And little dwarves. Dwarven out. Unfortunately, dwarves can't stand up to AKs. It's a known fact. You get taken down with 2 headshots and well, CX now down to 3. Wygers looking to close this out, not looking to lose any players, and looking pretty solid for the most part. CX very much not going to have much of an it's very much not going to have an impact on this round, as much as they want to. Wygers is just playing very sensibly, playing to not get caught out, and CeX as much as they get a little bit of damage down onto Aragon there. Won't net any kills. In fact, OMG is waiting in the wings and just takes down Cypher and Impact as they try and move on out. A really solid stuff. And Wygers feeling pretty happy about this one. CeX buying up now. And unlike the first map, they've been struggling to keep their players kind of on the same wavelength. They've been unable to really capitalize off of that, and it was mostly MT leading the charge, and then he caught sight of it, but on 7 kills early on here, though. Top of their team's leaderboard, I realized they didn't have the leaderboard up for very long. I'll bring it up in a second, but expected action like this. It is 2 for 2. That's a fantastic position to be in right now. Well, CeX tries to get that wall bang, but Soka will finish him off, and with the backup from OMG, they're going to move on into this B side. It's 3 versus 2, and Wygers demolish this CT side right now. You can see the orb moving into position of Murky. With this molly, it's going to be so hard for him to push on out. In fact, I don't think he will. I think we're going to see a save here again from CeX, and understandably so. It hurts if you're CeX to do this, but it's also the only route you really have. No, I'm not using game capture because game capture was not working. So I'm using display capture, which is why it might look a little bit weird, and that's why you've seen things come up on the screen which shouldn't have come up on the screen. I normally would use game capture though, but it was just bugging out. Sometimes OBS be like that. Talking about things that be like that, Wygers be up on 4 points. And pretty solid economic lead for them right there. That, pretty good for Murky. Takes down Soka right at the end of there. Hasn't hurt their economy too much, to be completely honest with you. But it's something. You take those. That was a good side slap. That's good. But CeX, for the most part, not worried about tie slaps. Instead, worried about their own score. Right now, they started off strong, but after those pistol rounds, Wygers had a much more clean approach to the game. And CeX, they're obviously not very practiced on this map. They haven't played it in a long time. Obviously, they haven't been a team very much recently. And Wygers definitely take their opportunity to, well, thoroughly school the old dogs. And, well, some say they can't learn new tricks, but a scientific study has proved otherwise. It's not actually true. And CeX, we're going to prove that too. Talk about new tricks. A little bit cheeky there from Murky, but watch out. OMG is on this flank. They've already hightailed it out of there. iFan will slip back on in to try and take him down, but Cypher isn't able to find that, and that's a rifle now for Cypher. Soka doesn't manage to stop him from retreating, but will catch him on the backside. Nice stuff from that player. Takes a little bit of damage, but now it's 3 versus 3, and this is not really where we expected to be in this CeX Esports round. They had the rifles, and they got a lot more out of it as well, because the pistols are the one that have done the work so far, and now they're up players with rifles on 2 of them, and in a round where they really shouldn't have been winning. Impact still on this B site, but the push is going to come on A, and it's going to be down to our boy MT, and he has been awesome so far in this game, and he continues to do so. CeX pick up their 3rd round, moving into the 8th. There's looking pretty solid on the whole, and you can see MT top fragger on the server by quite a wide margin, very much putting CeX Esports on their back here in Overpass. Freeze time comes on through. Gonna have a little bit of a tactical break. You can use this chance to go get a cuppa if you want to. And CeX looking, well, not the best, actually. I have to say, I'm impressed by MT. Don't get me wrong. But what I want to see from them is more team play, more fragging across the board, less of this kind of individualistic play. It's hard. They haven't played together in a long time, but it's what they'll really need to pick up this map. I think Wygers obviously played together a lot more. I don't think CeX Esports have actually done any recent practice together. So it's really starting to show their gaps here, and relying on that fragging power of, well, what I assume is the star player from this match, because I haven't seen much of the CeX Esports roster in a while. So MT really showing up here. Come on in. MT on this boosted spot. You can see OMG actually looking up towards here. Not quick enough. MT takes him right off the server, and Wygers down a player already. And with all the rifles in tow, CeX Esports are set up well. They've got everything they need. MT has started things off strong, and I mean, if MT seems to find a frag, it seems to lead to basically the entire round right now. Over-aggressive there from Cypher, and I think he's learnt his lesson after that one. Sun Pius goes down to 7. And it would have been okay if he managed to trade out, but now, MT alone on this site. Empty apart from MT. But it's not exactly empty when he's there, because he is a man who has quite a presence so far in this game. As you can see, I believe he's on 12 frags right now. Backup of Impact. Push on through. Long pushes seem to be Wygers' wheelhouse. Still play. You can see deaths up in the more secure position. Impact takes down Aragon. Flash comes on through, gives away their position. MT is on the flank, but Wygers take down a couple hits. 2 versus 3. Make that 2 versus 2, because MT, clinical precision right there. 1 versus 2 is Soker's the only one remaining, and MT about to tick him right off his naughty list. As I say that, Soker runs away, tails between their legs. MT looking to make this 4-4. Looks towards the position. Looking towards legs, but it seemed to work out fine from them there as they get the spray on in. Nice stuff there from CeX off the back yet again of MT. And Wygers tied up now. After a good start for CeX, things were very much going in Wygers' way, but they've swung back the other way. We're playing swing ball right now, and CeX Esports off with a fiery return serve. On 100 hours, 2 weeks. Not bad. Certainly isn't terrible. CeX Esports. Right now, looking like a strong team, galvanized by their main player. Wygers seem a little bit stumped on how to deal with it. OMG trying to find a bit of damage there, but for the most part, Wygers trying to make these aggressive plays with some good flashes, but at that long range, pardon me, jumping out with a Mac-10, not often really going to find you anything, unless there's someone super close. And as much as CeX have been throwing caution to the wind in a lot of ways, I don't think they'd quite be that far pushed up, so a little bit optimistic for Wygers there. And Cypher, stepping up his plays, looking for these flash, he's going to retreat back out. So Wygers didn't have anyone positioned to try and cut off that rotate back. No deaths on the other side, but I've already down to 68. Quite the magic number, and unfortunately, Soker will be the first to fall. Wygers keep on pushing through. They do manage to finish him off in return. But a lot of damage, and that molly almost finds it. Arrogant is going to push on through. Takes down MT. Nearly finishes off Impact, but it will be the rest of their team to move on in. And some nice shooting there from Deaths will net them that one. Wygers strike back here in round 9. CeX Esports only on 4. Looking to keep up with this. And you can see Wygers spread out across the board. Pretty solid stuff. Arrogant not having the best game. Had a good game last game, but CeX Esports right now getting carried by MT, and if Wygers can shut him down, like for example they did in that round, well, it's just plain sailing, really. Bit of a interesting buy coming out here from CeX. I think we'll see MT pick something up as well. Yeah, it's going to be that MP9 in tow. Force around that ult from Murky, bringing them all down to sub $200. Wygers very much set up for this. They've got the weapons, they've got the utility, and they've got the players. Well, I found not long as well. The Impact trying to hold their position behind pillar here, but it's not going to work. So much utility just cuts off any chance of pushing. You can see CeX, as much as they're going to find a kill, don't find all too much here. CeX with some strong rounds, but they really need to pick things up. Going into the latter half of this half, I want to see a little bit more clean play from them, and I'll feel a little bit more optimistic about their T side. But right now, I think they're going to struggle to push in a lot of ways. Wygers, for the most part, really taking control here. It's going to work around whether they can set up MT to really frag out. And I mean, CeX, as I said, haven't been playing together too much. So, Wygers, unsurprisingly, having the edge on their own map. CeX. Going for that cheeky pick again. Murky finds the first and decides doesn't want to stay for the second. That would be a little bit overzealous, and well, you know what? They're happy with one. Take what you can get. Certainly the line of thinking right now for CeX, and well, they'll just take what they want. Murky coming to back up, especially on this long position. Sees the player, takes him down. Arakan didn't expect that orb to be there. This is a round where there wasn't much money in the bank for CeX, and you can see that, really, Wygers didn't want to have to respect them. They wanted to push on up. And now, Murky has just been able to run train on these players because they're just not respecting those angles. And with a cleanup coming in from the pistol, that was a fantastic round from CeX, as they're keeping this very close. CeX as a whole, a little bit more cohesive in that one. Playing effectively around Murky, knowing when to back off. Playing sensibly. Sadly, the same cannot be said for Wygers here. Not respecting a lot of those angles. And Cypher, playing super cheeky with the backup from their team. Takes down a couple there, almost takes down a third, but Soka just a little bit too quick on the shots there. As OMG starts to peek their head around. Doesn't know where these last couple of people are. So with the flash, going to spray into the smoke, and with that final bullet, actually manages to take MT down, but doesn't know that iFan is just waiting in this smoke. When he pops that second smoke, he's going to feel like a right numbnuts as that kill will come on in. But unfortunately for iFan, OMG actually checks the position. He goes down, and Wygers turning around that looked a little bit skewer for them and really turning it on his head. I don't like what's going in chat. That's not okay. This is a family-friendly stream. I said that, but I accidentally swore. CeX have been swearing by MT most of this game, but they've been swearing by MT most of this game, but he's not here to save them now. Murky was able to perform in pretty impressive fashion in the last round. Whether they'll be able to do it again, not a lot of time. You can see him just rushing into that position. Molly comes on through. That could be massive. The quick shot comes on in. A second one almost lands, but the Molly is a little too far back, and that final player waiting down the back of water here. You can see them pushing on up. Impact expecting the player. Turns, takes him down, and that will be CeX picking up that round 6-6 in a very interesting position. things look pretty good for them. And honestly, off of that great start, CEX were able to take that. They rode out the wave, even though they messed up a little bit. They were able to take it. Pause time coming on in. As CEX and Wygers evaluating their positions. Wygers, not a lot of money in the bank, but it's definitely not the end of the world for them. We've got a couple of rounds to play with. I think we'll be by a couple of strong pistols here, and really play off of that. I found the only one on really low money there. Probably going to get dropped by either Impact or Murky. Probably Impact, because he's got more money. But he does still have to buy utility. Maybe it'll be Murky. We'll see. Very much believe that CEX are going to be set up to win this round. Wygers just don't have the economy for it. But I would like to say we have seen pistol round and eco round wins in this game so far. And I mean, definitely don't count anyone out for the count. Wow, UKCS streams are pretty wild in chat, huh? MT's definitely getting a weapon. If they don't get, he has enough to buy for himself. Okay, yeah. If you can hear that creaking, that's not a noble chair. If you have a noble chair, won't creak like that. Buy one at the link below. Or on the side, if you're not on mobile, I guess. See all these ads? Horrible team Wygers. That's just mean. They've been playing fine. You leave them alone, Arthur. They're a good team. Okay, but you're in a UKCS stream. And that makes you wild. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So we're getting right back on into the game. The issue has been resolved. I don't have any extra details on what it was for you, unfortunately. But it is going to be Tech 9s and a P250 versus, well, rifles from CEX. So that should be pretty darn set in the favor of CEX. So it's going to come and require something special from Wygers to really shut things down in the CEX camp. Flashes come on through. They're trying to move on in, but with that spray, IFAN shuts down the early pushers. They try to rush him down, and they will take him, but at what cost? As they lose pretty much everyone in that crossfire. CEX shut down the round quick, and as much as we had a delay, we're right back on schedule. CEX moving into those last couple of rounds, as it is Wygers' first, well, not first, last chance, I'd argue, for a comeback in this one. They've got rifles, and they definitely want to make a couple more of these plays, but you can see already CEX in some interesting positions as the nade will go on through. A bit of damage back and forth as Aragon is trying to find something, but no, pardon me, early picks yet. Cypher, super far up here, spots one out, gets the spray down in the park. Looking for a little bit more, as Sunpies is right behind here. Swaps out the knife and swaps out like two ships in a night, but he spots him at the corner of his eye. And now, with AK in tow and 2 frags, Wygers in such a good position. Alright, this is the Climber's Cup. Climber Cup. By the way. I'm not saying that. I've heard people say it's CeX before, and I hate that. No, I always call it CEX. Everyone from where I live calls it CEX. Apart from, like, 12-year-olds who are like, ha. Speaking of haha, MT puts a punchline in the end for Wygers there. Their rifle round, nothing more than a footnote to history, as they're unable to find a thing. CEX looking like they might just take this 9-6 in this first half. 2 rifles, but, well, they're only Galils for Wygers. It makes things a little more than difficult. CX. Moving on in. As Wygers are pushing up. They've at least managed to take some space away from CEX early and not getting caught out by some of the cheesier stuff right now. CEX. With a couple of these shots. Ready to stop this attempt to push on in if they can get this player up in time, but he's not going to be there. You can see 2 players in long. I think Murky might just fall as they turn around, but he gets the timing right. The call from his team is more than enough to get that one. But with bomb going down, Molly going in too, Wygers have cut them off from the position. And sure, it's 4 versus 5, but keep in mind that they have a nice positioning. As I say that, OMG goes down, and MT is able to clean up at least a couple of these last players. There's 1 remaining, and with only a deagle, well, so players, it's happened before, but I don't think it'll happen this time. It certainly does. It's CEX pick up this round, taking the half 9-6. We're going to go to a quick break, and then we'll be right back for the second half. Some issues with the yeah, okay, no, it was going on through. There we go. We're having some issues with the game. Thought that was the actual round starting. I was wrong. Match is now live. Wygers on this CT side now, and they've really got to make it count. The maps, by the way, this is map 2. Wygers' map choice. CEX picked up the first one, Inferno. Yeah, that is all old. Maps are Inferno, which is won by CEX. Wygers obviously picked this map, Overpass, and then if we make it to the end, it's going to be Mirage. OMG starting to push up aggressively here, as he is trying to find something, and this is very similar to what we saw from CEX, but CEX actually doing very similarly to what we saw Wygers do. They're putting this push towards B and pushing out some players up these stairs, but some players shuts down MT early, and that is an important pick to get. This is, if you read the title, the MDL Europe Climber Cup Season 34. Speaking of reading like a book, Death's going to a pretty standard position and instantly getting taken away by iFan there. Murky watching and waiting for Pius, does take him down. Some players not long for this world, but Impact holding strong and takes him down. But with a couple of players in water pushing on through, it's 2 versus 2, and not a lot of health left for CEX, and this is especially important here on this pistol round. Comes on through. Soccer does go down. The last 2 remaining players trying to finish him off, and Murky gets those 2 kills, gets CEX that W, and now with an economic advantage is not to be sniffed at. CEX taking the start to the second half. Yeah, you need to keep your language in English, by the way, guys, just so you're aware. This is an English stream, so... well, you can go find out by looking on HLTV. I'm sorry, I don't have that information for you. I forgot to look it up. I believe it's for more rookie teams to try and practice, though. Sorry, not practice, sorry. Get noticed and get good matches against better teams. 1 of CX play Valorant. 2 of them are retired. 1 of them might be a coach. And then 2 are still playing. But they have played together prior, and they have been a pretty strong team, so... Certainly a team not to keep an eye on, obviously, because they're not going to be together much longer, but not someone to sniff at. And talking about not sniffing anything, Mac 10 for Murky, certainly a sight to behold. MT going to keep on up, and it looks like they just run on in. This is exactly what you should expect from this round for CEX. They should have that big advantage, and ready flags it. CEX have been together recently for like a day, just for today. And then, prior, they were together for a long time. I can't remember how, yeah. Death. Holding that position again, but doesn't want to get taken out. This little spot up in the first nest. Arrogant, holding, strong. Murky, got to win this one out. But unfortunately, the rifles from Wygers are very strong here. iFan versus 2. Has sight control. Definitely can try and make this play. Going for the plant. With plant, The onus is more on Wygers than him, so he has a lot more space to try and make these plays. The angle takes down the first, but with his position given away, things could be more than difficult. You can see the AWP coming on in from Sunpius. He's trying to hold the angle. Shot comes through, and CEX win a round that they had no business of taking off the back of iFan. Yeah, you make MDL relegations. And then if you win that, I believe you go into MDL. Or get high placing. Can't remember exactly how. Eric lost alive on Overpass. I'm seeing it. My eyes cannot believe me either. I found has been struggling on this map, but shows us some good rounds anyway. CEX as a whole have been a very solid team today, and they might just take home this 2-0. Don't forget, if you are sticking around for some matches, there is another match. Another series, best of 3 and all, including CEX Esports, at 7:30 UK time, which is an hour and 10 minutes if you're not from around those parts. Hopefully we finish this game here, because otherwise we might run over if we have some of those long pauses like we had earlier. But it's certainly looking like CEX might just get that done. They're all about efficiency, and they want to be right on time, baby. As Wygers, struggling to be efficient when they have so little to work with. You can see these pistols, and as much as they can do the damage, it's difficult to do so. I found pushing on through. Monster there. Starting to slip into the back. Oh, but that be so. Deaths. Keeping an eye on long, but right now, not a lot of dedication towards A from CEX. They're keeping their options open, being a little bit more sensible, not going for anything too spicy. Not spicy. OMG. Not respecting that nade. Does a bit of damage. The molly's going to come on through as well, and forces them away. CEX, with 55 seconds on the clock, been burning through a lot of time. Information. Buying some space. You can see the pistol on the right. Puts them out. Impact has to double take there before finally taking them off the board. But, 47 damage to face and nothing to sniff out, especially against these pistols. It makes you a lot more vulnerable. So, likely, that actually seem to be the one so far. Takes away that opportunity. To Cypher here, who cleans it on up. Little to no damage going on that player. And Murky pushing on through with CZ as well. Has that AWP ready. Waits for the player to move on in. Deaths goes down. And Wygers remaining with one player. The USP finished off by Cypher, and CEX 3 rounds away from taking this map and the series 2-0. And again, shout outs to MT. Absolutely fantastic play from this guy. Has led their team to success here on this map. I get a feeling it could be a GG too. Be over just as quickly as it started. Map 1. A bit closer, but for the most part, I guess it's struggling when CEX gets that second half. Good pick early, could be what they need though. Do keep in mind that CEX has still managed to make it work here, if that happens. Aragon. Holding the angle, gets a shot on the Murky. As much as he takes some damage there, gets some information. Cypher, we use the information that he gave him to go right onto that. We continue to push on up. As you see, bomb goes down. Well, now CEX very much in a good position. Things started off a little bit awkward for them. Sunpius had started with those 2 frags, but all fell apart. They weren't able to capitalize off them. And as a result, CEX muscled their way on into sight, and Wygers really struggled to get it. Vadim is, by the way, banned. You will not get messages from them. And Cypher, well, he's making sure no more messages home come out from the remainder of these players. Going for the knife, going for the stab, gets it! On to death there. That was the spicy play and a half as Ivan, who talking about padding those HLTV stats. He's padding everyone's hearts. So that was just beautiful. CEX very much in control of this one. Wygers struggling to put those numbers up, and you can see CeX really feeling themselves with that knife, and a bit of a dejected GG in terms of throwing those weapons out there for Wygers. OMG trying to make that play. They know they need a big one. I guess why they can spray one out. Good spray. Will manage to finish him off, and now even those attempted risky daring ones don't lead to anything. MT finishes off some players as he tries to get the flank, and with more players falling all across the map as Hyphen pushes it up into this position. Control of B site and soon to be likely A site fall to CEX as they move themselves to match point here. Wygers don't have a snowball's chance in hell. They don't have a buy here. Ain't got nothing. CEX have well and truly thwarted them. And this one's just a victory lap. Not that they haven't already done some celebrating, for example, with that knife coming out from iFan. CeX feeling themselves, and I mean, you know what? It's a joyous occasion. A reunion should be celebrated. They're just going to push on through basically every situation here. Just to follow this MT. Staying it for a lineup. Arrogant. Gonna hold this one. This DHE comes on through, but no damage coming through yet. CeX just waiting for that utility to be expended. They know that Wygers are feeling antsy, want to use the utility, stop those pushes coming before they happen, but because it's not coming, they're just wasting that utility. And they're now pushing out, trying to use those SMGs to their favorite. Sunpice with the big spray down! Manages to capitalize upon that with OMG finding a frag as well. It's 2 versus 3. CEX, they don't need to win this, but damn, it'd be nice if they do. MT and Murky, though, the two key players for CEX, still alive and kicking. And they're looking to kick Wygers out of this position in the standings. Back in. Now here. Moving up to bomb site. No players are really close enough to really punish them. You can see a player down in water. Starting to close this up. The smoke is there. I wonder if Death has pushed this. Here's the bomb going down. Does manage to get into a decent position. Allows CEX the opportunity to move back. Doesn't let them capitalize off of it. Death's starting to push it on out. Expecting player down towards water. On the back, there comes the flash. There comes another. Should allow him to move on up. Murky finds the first, but does get refragged. A good shot from MT. It's 1 versus 1 here. Sunpice has that spray, manages to finish it, and Wygers, they ain't dead yet. Victory lap? Nah, mate. This is Wygers picking up a round just by the skin of their teeth. Some solid stuff from Wygers to be able to pick up that one in a round where, well, their economy wasn't looking so hot. CEX, though, burning a little bit too hot and only running on fumes at the end of that round. Bit of a mistake from them, and sad to see, but CEX still very much in control right now. iPhone. Giving you charge. The smoke stops out that molly. While he is still trying to set up right now. So they've got 3 players waiting for me, very much expecting that monster push that seems to be so characteristic of CEX. Murky. Moving on up, but no one's waiting at the top for him. At least anyone is. Waiting in the smoke. There is OMG, and that shot gives themselves away. Wygers down a player. And with only 1 round left in the tank for CEX, that's all they need to make it there. I found an MT moving on up. Moving on out. Takes down 2. MT with some solid shooting, but Death manages to take down 2 as well. MT still alive. It's 3 versus 1, and it's going to take something special from Wygers right here to really close this one out. You can see it come on through. MT does actually manage to fall. Sun Pius is looking for these shots, but Murky picks him out off the top. That will be GG, and 2-0 to the side of CeX Esports.